What's up, guys? It's Mitchy, and today I want to go over kind of the state of Siege. And you may have noticed recently that the community is in quite a big frenzy because Siege is in a bad place right now. However, I don't think it's as bad as people think, and there's a lot of issues that people are not talking about that fall on the community, and obviously the developers need to work on a lot, but here are some issues. So the first one I want to talk about is I think the community is responsible for a lot of people's perception of the state of Rainbow Six Siege. And a lot of that's due to content creators. And one in particular that I've noticed is King George. And if you watch his stream for a little while, look at his YouTube videos, he has a lot of like slamming a cheater or basically him triumphing over a cheater, which is great. You don't want the cheater to win. However, this does a very big disservice to what the goal actually is, which is to stop cheating on PC for Rainbow Six Siege. And what he's doing is it's the same concept as what like mainstream media does when there's a terrorist attack. And I'm not saying cheating in Rainbow Six Siege is at all equitable to a terrorist attack. However, what the media does is they show the terrorists, they, highlight their name, you have pictures of them, it's full on coverage. And I feel like when you're making cheater videos like this, it's the same thing. You show their gamer tag, you're talking about what they're doing, you're talking about how they're doing it. And it's one of those things where people are they're gonna want to be in King George videos. And it's gonna promote this cheating, and it's not smart, and it's not good for the longevity, I should say, of the game, to keep putting these cheaters on blast. And then another issue with the community would be videos like Get Flanked made a video about passive abilities, basically, that operators have. And to that, I say, he thinks they're a problem. I say, who the fuck cares? What you should be focusing on is the main issues of the game. Cheating, the bugs, glitches, all the things, the shift in meta. It's one of those things where I don't care that Zofia has a withstand ability that does not work about 99% of the time, which he fails to mention. And what he's doing a disservice when you have that kind of... He has a certain, power in that a lot of people see his videos, he can have a big influence, and he can help Ubisoft fix a lot of issues, but instead he's focusing on something that really does not matter. And that's just stupid, And obviously he's made a lot of videos on different things, but talking about passive abilities and operators is just something else that Ubisoft's going to see and hear, something that's going to be in their mind, and it's going to take away from them actually fixing issues that need to be fixed. Last thing about the community is this hashtag Save Siege stuff. I think it's all blown out of proportion. I think that where the game isn't as bad as people say, and that things will iron out. We have to believe it when Ubisoft says they're fixing mouse and keyboard on console. They're going to fix cheaters on PC. It's a matter of when, and we just have to tough it out until then. And, until then, what would be best is if we didn't shout aloud all the cheaters. If we didn't showcase every single bug. Well, you want to let Ubisoft know about it, but there's a way to do that to where it doesn't become a huge focal point in your content or in discussion about the game. One channel in particular would be DBL Online, who has been making glitches, bugs, exploit videos for probably 2 to 3 years now. And that ruins a game, and to be honest, it's a horrible business model if your channel's a business, because you're essentially ruining the game that you're trying to make content on, which is retarded, But if he stopped doing that, at least I think he has probably around 203,000 subs, at least 300,000 people wouldn't know how to do the next fucking Clash glitch that comes into the game, and we might actually be able to play her for more than a month at a time. And so it's just things like that where the community has contributed a lot to basically putting Siege in this bad spot right now. Anyway, the next major issue with Rainbow Six Siege is obviously the meta. Uh, Pro players have made tweets about this. There's I think it was Pengu. He made like a long list about all the things you need to take out, and it's really true. When you enter the building, right, as an attacker, well, at most you have for soft destruction, you can have like a few people with grenades. You're gonna have Ash and Zofia, but you know there's so much stuff you have to do before you're able to actually get into a gunfight or before you go and push the objective. And the problem this creates is, so last round ends, let's say, there's like a 50-second pick phase, especially with loading screens. Then you have a 40-second prep phase, and then you have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to drone, destroy gadgets, make your way around the place, the map, without getting killed by a roamer, maybe get some early picks, but most of the gunfights are going to come in the last 30 seconds of each round. That comes out to about 3.5, 4 minutes without shooting a gun, and that's just not good for the game. Obviously, Siege is supposed to be methodical, not as fast paced. Even though there are a lot of people who play the game fast paced, it creates just a very boring experience. And the way to fix this would be to give the offense more soft destruction capability. Now, obviously, you see the new season coming out, and it's basically a throwable Hibana, right? We don't need that. We need another Ash, essentially. We need something that, in my opinion, should not be able to get snagged by ADSs, should not be able to get snagged by Wamais, and can destroy deployable shields and mute jammers and just all the things that are stopping you. Mute Monzi Vigil Goyo is huge in the meta. Goyo a little less prevalent now, but you still see a lot of deployable shields and a lot of things that basically prevent you from entering the site. And it takes a lot of time, and time is our most valuable possession. People don't want to have to waste time clearing all this shit just in order to basically play the game. I'm not saying the gunplay is everything, but that's one of the main fun parts of Siege, and you want to keep the fun factor, somewhat high. All I'm saying is you got to increase the utility for the attackers and decrease it a little bit for defense. It's already a defensive-sided game. It's always going to be that way. However, there is a way to make it more fun while attacking. As far as defense goes, defense is great right now. You're going to be winning at least 60% of your rounds if you're playing smart. But that's only half the game. That's only, you gotta make sure the full experience is enjoyable. And give me back Buck's grenades, please. Ubisoft, I beg you. Another thing real quick that I think would really help the game also is map voting. I don't know about you, but there's probably most of the ranked maps, when I get them, I just groan, because I don't want to play on Villa, and it's just not fun. I get sick of playing Chalet, and Canal makes me want to kill myself. Therefore, map voting would, I think, root out a lot of problems that we're seeing in Siege, and overall it would tell Ubisoft A, what maps they need to rework, B, what maps the community does not like, and C, it would just make the overall player experience enjoyable, because you'd be able to play maps that you actually like. I feel like I hardly ever get to play Bank, because there's so many other maps in the ranked pool, and Bank is one of my favorite maps. But there's a lot of things in the way of me enjoying that experience on Bank, and I feel like there's a lot of ranked maps that should not be in the ranked pool. Also, why is Skyscraper out of ranked? There's no need for that. That was one of the most fun maps. I don't care. This is the point where obviously you want to balance your game, but if something's just super fun, and I feel like Skyscraper was very well received by the community, and it should definitely be in the game still, at least in like unranked or quick match. So what can the devs do? Because we have to believe that they are trying to fix the game, and you may ask why, and it's because they've supported it for this long, and we've seen Siege's comeback. We've seen how much work Ubisoft has put in to making this game what it is today. It's amazing. It's the most ambitious shooter ever, and it's a game that we've all been able to fall in love with that has needed work, but still needs work. And I think Ubisoft can do that. So let's talk about what the developers should be doing right now. So in a chronological order, the first thing Ubisoft really needs to do is improve their anti-cheat system, and I believe even just they need to make their own system, because BattleEye doesn't cut it, and the only thing it's doing, it's banning people once they have cheated without much cheater prevention, because there is a difference between managing cheating and preventing cheating. So obviously, I'm not a computer engineer, and I don't know how this can be done, but you see games like Valorant where they just came out, and I think within the first 24 hours, there were people getting banned for having cheats enabled and using cheating software. So Ubisoft needs to just pull it together, get their head out of their asses, and find out some way to get it done. And I think they have been working on that. It's just, it needs to happen much sooner rather than later, before they get on to any of the other changes that I'm about to mention. But a AAA title should not be having as much of a cheating problem as Ubisoft has when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege. Comicbook.com says that 38% of the players on PC have cheats, have used cheats, have cheated in some way. That's absurd. That is just crazy. In any other instance, that would completely ruin a game. The only reason I think Siege has been able to survive that is because just how special the game is, and the concept behind it, how the community has rallied around the game, because they do want it to be better. But yeah, 38% of the players are cheaters. That's insane to me. So that's what the devs really need to focus on first, is improving their anti-cheat. The cheating problem is one thing that the community has not overstated, and it needs to be fixed immediately. Immediately, I think before summer, before June 30th. That's plenty of time, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't know what it takes. However, Ubisoft has the resources, and they should be able to find a solution to this problem. So what else could the developers do? Well, I don't believe in artificially shaking up the meta, where basically game developers try to force a certain strategy, or try to tamper with the game in such a way where it's so just the most effective tactic available is no longer available. So, but there are things they can do to help the meta right now, to make the game a little more attacker friendly. And here's some ideas that I've seen, and some that are my own. So the first idea that I have seen is basically the rotation of bomb sites in ranked. So basically what this would mean is, let's say you're on a map like Chalet. We know that downstairs on Chalet, you have Snowmobile Garage and the Wine Cellar. And basically, what this idea would do is, every week, let's say, basically what would happen is the downstairs objective would flip to being Big Garage in the back of the map, obviously, and then Wine Cellar, let's say. So basically what it would do, it would keep defending strats more dynamic. It would cause people to have to think more on their toes, instead of having all these set defensive strats that are most effective, A, and B, just make it a lot less fun for the attacker. Because obviously we know with all these set strats in place, defense is able to pretty much halt the attackers in the best way possible. So if we change that up, it's going to make it, I think it'll make the game more fun, and it'll just make everything a little more attacker friendly, as well as fix the problems of every round coming down to the last, 15 seconds of gunfights. It would fix the problem of certain operators being banned constantly, because, in that instance, you might consider not banning Cade, and for the Grudge Wall or something, or Bandit, or Thatcher might not be as much of a priority to ban, which would help the attackers a lot. And it's just it's something to shake up things a little bit and keep defense on their toes, while also allowing the attackers to find different ways to attack and be more effective against the defense. Obviously, this might not be a possibility on every map. Some smaller maps might not have this kind of flexibility. And I don't know if it's the right change. I might sound like an idiot, but it's definitely an idea, and it's something to think about, how that would have a positive impact on the game. New attacker idea. His or her name would be Jinx. Their name is Jinx because they're a trickster. You can talk about all that stuff in their bio. Basically, their ability would be a impact grenade slingshot, right? You get 3 to 4 of them, and it's just another way for attackers to take out all the defensive gadgets, all the shit in your way, and that only took me about 30 seconds to come up with. So I feel like it's not that hard for Ubisoft to just come up with an operator that can help offense take out all the things the defense put in front of them. I understand that operator concepts are created much, much, much before the seasons actually come out. I'm sure Ace was drawn up all the way back in year 3 or 4. But I think Ubisoft hopefully has people smart enough where they can act quickly in order to solve this crisis. It's honestly a crisis that we're currently facing on attack, and hopefully maybe next season, we can see an operator like I just described, where it's another form of soft destruction. It's somewhat unique, keeps things fresh. I don't think fresh weapons are the most important thing, but that would be nice, at least a sidearm or something. And, just come up with it. It's not that hard. All right? Especially when you have the resources that Ubisoft has. And here's my thing. Ubisoft made a net worth of about 99.99 million euros. None of that revenue has gone to anti-cheat system. None of it has gone to, just whatever they need to do to fix Rainbow Six Siege. Bug fixes, operator concepts like I mentioned. Like hire someone who is more creative than whoever they have right now, because it's not working. The past couple of seasons, the operators have been relatively lackluster. And I feel like with the resources they have, the money they have, they need to come out with something phenomenal if they do want to save their game. And I know I said hashtag save Siege was, blown out of proportion, but there's some truth to it in that, Ubisoft, they need to, like I said, get their head out of their asses and pull together. And they have the resources to do it. So anyway, new attacker concept, Ubisoft, use what you have. One other thing I'd like to mention is Ubisoft did something that I would consider a no-no, and that is they changed their licensing policies for their Pro League teams. And essentially what this did was it took a lot of prominent pro players off their teams. It basically it shut down a lot of esports teams. It terminated a lot of Pro League contracts, and overall it was not good for esports. Esports is one of their most powerful tools. It's another avenue of marketing that is so important because it gets people very excited for the game. It's one of those things where if they don't have it, they're going to go down the tank. So they need to go back to how it was, where basically what they consider poaching is where basically one organization owns multiple Pro League teams. Now, the reason why this is beneficial for players and for the community is that it essentially allows for easy management of Pro League and of its players. And basically, without the teams, without the players, a lot of them are already backing out. Without that, you're not going to have a Pro League. And it's going to... Pro League has been... It was the largest it's ever been as far as popularity a season ago. And without it, you're just going to lose a lot of hype for your game, and it's something that people are going to be mad at you. They already are mad at you about Ubisoft. And it's just something that simply needs to be reverted. Simply change the policy back, because it's hurting your game and it's hurting the community, and it was honestly unneeded. Obviously, there were a lot of problems with organizations owning multiple teams, such as development of basically essentially farm leagues like in baseball. So people if as long as they spent time in Challenger League, they would get up to the Pro League standard. The problem with this is a lot of talent won't make it, and it creates essentially a I don't say culture, but it makes people almost entitled that at the end of this they're going to get a huge prize. And organizations such as G2 Esports, they're basically winning everything, and they're taking a lot of the money. But wait, what is this is so dumb, because what Ubisoft doesn't realize is there's not a finite amount of award prize money in Rainbow Six Siege Esports. It's always going to be coming in as it grows in popularity and as their income streams increase and the amount of people that are interested increase, and the more investors that are coming into the esports industry. Esports is growing so much. So it's unjustified to basically take away teams' opportunities to earn their money that they have worked hard for in order to spread the wealth and in order to basically end the dynasties that some of these organizations have created. So anyway, it sucks, and I hope Pro League can maybe return back to normal, and that everything kind of settles down with that scene, because Ubisoft has a lot more issues on hand. Another thing they can do to improve Rainbow Six Siege, fix their game, is actually look at the comments in R6 Fix and view the bugs that players are reporting and fix them within that week. You should have a big-ass whiteboard in, wherever the hell you work at that just has a long list of bugs, and you should have a team dedicated to fixing bugs as quickly as possible, as frequently as possible. And, there's a lot of big gaming developers that do this, that have bug-fixing teams. It's not that hard to establish. It's just something that's going to make Siege better. It's going to make everyone's quality of life better. And I think it's the best thing for the game. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to gripe about. Thank you so much for watching. If you agree with me, comment down below. If you disagree with me, comment down below. We just gotta believe in Ubisoft. They really do care about Siege, and I think they'll make a lot of changes soon, hopefully. Until then, see you next time. Thank you, and bye-bye.